Hey, what's up? It's Jose with another YouTube video. So if you're interested in modifying your Sportster, maybe you're interested in buying a Sportster, or you have a Sportster now and you're thinking about changing it up and want to know what does it cost, what are the prices, I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to let you know what I've paid for, the parts that I've purchased. But before I get any further into the video, I encourage you to like these types of videos, whether it's my channel or others, because I really think that people like to see this type of content. And so that's why I'm creating it. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate any sort of feedback. So this is a 2017 Iron 883 that I bought used from a local dealer. I'll get into that in just a minute. I'm gonna be doing a price breakdown and I'm gonna try and run a list of what retail price is and then what I paid. So when I say I paid for this at this price point, it might include shipping, it might include taxes, or it might not include that at all. I might have got it used or something like that. And so just keep that in mind as I go through. And this is my first bike, and when I was looking for used bikes, I was looking for bikes that, again, could be easy to work on, but also there would be plenty of aftermarket support. And the Sportster is literally that blank canvas. I bought this used in 2019, so it was about 2 years old. It only had about 1,500 miles in. And when I went in, I thought to myself, you know, I might consider financing the bike, or I might consider paying for the bike outright from the dealer. Ultimately decided that I wanted to buy this bike outright directly from the dealer. But I do think it's interesting of how much I paid for the final price compared to the sticker price. And so I had that list right here. When it was listed at $6,799. And looking back now, I definitely would reconsider this option. But for me, again, no experience, never had owned a bike before, didn't really know what I was getting into. I wanted to make sure that I had a bike that was safe on the road, that would meet the requirements for a dealership to resell it, even if it was, you know, a good pass through of just visual inspection. I wanted to make sure that they were able to ensure that for me, but also know that I could, you know, ride the bike home and not have an issue the next day. So I did have to pay a prep fee. That was $699. That stung, because when I asked them about the prep fee, I think the sales guy didn't really want to go into too many details about it. You know, they said, again, a visual inspection of the bike would take place. They would check all the fluids, this and that. And so when I got back to the dealer after they did the prep fee, I assumed they had a full tank of gas and a full bag of oil, and I took off, and that was about it. But I paid $699 for that, and so consider that as one of those things that you might have to pay for. The other thing that I also, you know, just assumed was probably part of the prep fee would be documenting this, maybe for their site or their website or whatever it is that they do. But a documentation fee was on there, but I paid $149 on top of that. And then this is the things that I knew I would have to pay, but I paid through the dealership, again, just for ease of mind. And that was the registration fee, and that was $184.75. The list just kept getting longer and longer, and the last one on the list here was taxes. And so I had to pay the taxes that were listed on this after all of those prices had been accumulated, and that was $776.04. And so overall, with everything out the door, again, to own this bike outright, my 2017 Harley Davidson Sportster Iron 883 with about 1,500 miles came to a total of $8,608.79. So again, a consideration for anyone who's out there looking to buy a motorcycle, especially a used motorcycle at a local dealer. Sometimes they might waive some of those fees. I did not get so lucky. That's the price for just the bike itself. And so I'm gonna get into the modifications and the things that I've done to the bike. And I'm gonna start off with kind of the most affordable things that maybe you could do right off the bat. Something to consider is that there are cheap options out there. There are ways to kind of penny pinch and crunch numbers and be frugal about it. One of those is, of course, looking for parts that are used. But when I was looking at some of the products that I definitely wanted to add to the bike, I thought to myself, where can I find these? And so just Googling that part, you would see some of these ads. And so I started clicking around, and I found some really great deals that I just could not pass up on. And so the first set of things that I got for the bike were actually from Amazon, and it's the Wazamic 5 3/4 LED headlight. So it's on there now. I've had it on there for about 2 years. And it's been great. And the price for that was $44.59. The next thing on here that I did was the 2-inch tank lift kit. I think it's by Moto Party, and that was $9.98. I have my list right in front of me here, so I'm going to continue to go down the list. The next one that's not actually on the bike right now, but I did have it on for a while, was the headlight fairing. So I had a fairing over there. Actually, let me grab it. And it was this one. I had this on there for a while, and as you can see, it kind of has a little bit of a semi-gloss or a glossy look on it. But this thing is awesome. It looks cool. It makes the bike look great, especially with the stock 1-inch risers. It hides the speedometer pretty well right behind it. So if you don't like the original speedometer clamp on the handlebars, this is a good way to actually switch up the look. This fairing was $32.99. So if you're interested and looking for a fairing setup, this one is an affordable one. So moving on with the next thing, but you can't see right now. I'll show you a clip. It's actually my speedometer relocation bracket. So I didn't do this right away, and this one was a really good deal. It was only $24.88, which is kind of a steal compared to some of the other ones. The next thing on my bike that I didn't do right away, but I did order from Amazon, was the handlebar LED mini motorcycle turn signals. Kind of a mouthful. They clean up the look of that front end, and it definitely makes it look less bulky. So originally I had the bullet style turn signals, and those were on there, which were fine, and those were only $20.99. So I do have a video of me installing those if you want to check it out. Look for that in my other videos. And then the two last things from Amazon that I have is part of my wire tuck. I ended up getting this super glue easy fuse tape. I know Blockhead Moto, he made a video doing a wire tuck, and so from that inspiration I saw that he did the easy fuse super glue tape, and that wrapped up all the wires, and so they're tucked in nicely, and that tape was only $4.98. Again, you can go without it maybe, and you just use some regular tape, or you could actually probably get it at a local hardware store. And the last thing, and this is actually probably the last modification that I've done to the bike, and it was also an Amazon product, was the extended fork caps for $51.95. So if you just simply want to add 2 inches to the front end of your bike and leave it at the stock length or the stock internals, you totally can. And you can probably get away with running the original brake line as well. And all you have to do is take off the fork caps and make sure that it has the thread in the cartridge side or not, depending on your setup. But that gives you 2 more inches. And so that was probably the last modification that I did to the bike. So I have a total for what I paid for Amazon parts just listed out, because I thought it was interesting that all of these parts were on Amazon. They're easy to do. They're things that you could probably do in your garage or even in a parking strip, you know, at a complex or something. But for all of those parts combined, I paid $190.36. So for under 200 bucks, you know, you can change up the look of your bike. This is just the start. Kind of took a guess at what the full price would be, you know, about a week ago. My wife says I should guess before I try and find the total amount. So my guess is somewhere around 2,000, maybe 2,500 for accessories and aftermarket parts. So take a guess at what you think the price is. Put it in the comments. Again, I think I'm under 2,500 bucks. My wife thinks it's double that, so I hope not. But I'll let you know, and we'll go one by one, and we'll see what it is. All right, thanks for watching. I'm gonna keep going with the list and get you as close to the number that I've spent over the last 3 years. So the next thing on my list right now is the Vance and Hines big radius exhaust. So this is one of those big ticket items, because if you go on Revzilla, you're gonna spend $799.99 plus taxes and shipping and whatever other costs are associated with getting that to your front door. But because I went on Craigslist and I trusted some sketchy dude online. I only paid $150. That's a bargain. That's crazy. That's almost unheard of. But I got super lucky. You might end up spending 300 bucks used, but it's definitely something you can do in your garage. And I did have to run to the Harley store to get a few more things. So I realized that it was missing a couple of bolts for the brackets, and then I had to get the O2 sensor adapters. So I count for about 50 bucks on that, but all in all, that was about $200. But it looks great. It's been running awesome. All right, moving on. So with that being said, I did have to buy a fuel pack for it, because I didn't want the bike running too rich or too lean. I was able to find one at a discounted price. So retail, it lists for $459, and what I paid for it was $328.57. That's with shipping, taxes, and the part in about a week. It was an obscure website. I think it was called like Biohazards Cycles, and just be aware that there are deals out there. The next thing that I changed and that I have listed on my list is from Burley brand. So it's the Burley brand Hex air cleaner, and I got that one for retail price plus shipping and handling. So what I paid for it, it was $192.62. And the next thing that I'm going into is definitely one of those more pricey items that are definitely not a must have, but it will definitely change the way you feel about your motorcycle, and that is the seat. So I purchased a Saddleman LS step-up seat. It's probably the nicest thing on my motorcycle in my opinion, and I waited for a sale on this one because I got this one on Speed King Cycles website. So I was able to scoop this one up at a good price. It was not cheap. But I also ended up getting the ARP seat bolt and washer kit that goes with it for 12 bucks. The seat is listed for $449. It's not cheap. I think it was a Black Friday deal actually, or something like that. I only paid $432.90. That includes the shipping and the handling. And I did use a option that they have on their website, their Klarna option, which gives you a 4-payment install option, and you pay 0% on that, and you can set it up with your debit or your credit card and make 4 equal payments. So depending on how you are with finances, that might be an option too, to just like reduce the cost burden of, paying full price right off the bat. And that's what I did on this. I don't recommend it for everyone, but it's an option that I've used, and I've used it for a few different online purchases. Moving on, next thing, this was one of the first things that I got for the bike, is the Bunking Highway Peg crash bars. I waited for a deal because this one was $299 retail, and then after the discount code that applied and then the shipping and handling and all that, I paid $294.10. So as I get further down the list, as you can see, things are getting pricey, but it definitely has changed the look of the bike. I think that overall the seat, the air cleaner, and the front end are the biggest things that stand out. And with the front end, this was probably one of the most, challenging things that I did to modify the bike, because I got the TrackerDie 39mm cartridge eliminator kit that also came with the extended damper rods. I have a whole video on that if you want to check it out. That's listed for $144.95. You do have to get the progressive suspension to match, or any other internal suspension to match, because you're removing the cartridge. And so I got the progressive suspension that they sell on their website, and that was $111.95. So when I did that, originally I thought, well, that's it. I was still running the 1-inch riser, but I had the original brake line on there, and that was not gonna cut it. So I did have to order a Drag Specialties extended brake line that would help cover the distance from where my brake sits now and then that original location for the 1-inch risers. But when I switched up my risers the second time around, I added another 4 inches. So by getting the 10-inch extended brake line, I was able to just continue to use that one and not worry about that. So if you're thinking about getting the TrackerDie kit, there are a few extra things that you should consider getting. and the extended brake line was one, and that was $66.95. So it's not really something that stands out, but it's on there and it does its job and it works great and it looks OEM. The other thing that I wasn't even thinking about at the time, I didn't even consider it as a need, but I got the Drag Specialties extended 1-inch over kickstand. Definitely would recommend if you do extend the front end of your bike. I paid $55.95. All right, moving on. I'm almost there. I'm almost to the end. I did mention this just now a few seconds ago, but I recently did do the 4-inch Harley Davidson pullback risers that lifted up the front handlebar setup just a little bit, and I think it looks great. I actually have it not in the pullback position, but kind of at a vertical straight up position. And I got those used. I got them from a guy on Instagram. Again, another potentially sketchy situation where I saw it listed and I went for it, and I was just hoping for the best because I did do the transaction via PayPal, and I was just direct messaging the guy on his page. I made sure that people weren't already calling this guy out as a scammer, and he totally was not. He was super professional and like super on top of it, and he got the parts out day of when I made that transaction. So that was Satan Cycles on Instagram. I'll put his right here or something, and you can check him out because he also has other parts all the time, as well as Dyna and Softail parts. So definitely check him out. But I only paid $45 for them. Sometimes you find some really great deals on Instagram. Another few components on my handlebars that you could easily get was through Lowbrow Customs that I got the AMF grips, and this was also a gift that I got, so I don't know what they paid for potentially shipping, or if it included taxes or stuff like that, but on the website they're listed at $19.99. And sometimes they have really great sales, or they just have a reduced price on there, so you might be able to find them cheaper. The other thing that I got from Lowbrow Customs is the 8mm spark plug wire kit. So you can't quite see them, and I paid $26.99 for those, but because I did do the relocation of my coils and my ignition, I moved everything onto the other side and I needed something to house it, and I got the gas box top mount, motor mount, coil ignition, relocation, bracket. That is listed on their website for $49.95. But like I said, sometimes you get a good deal, you get a discount, or you get a markdown on those prices, and I paid $44.95 for that. Next thing that you don't see on the bike here, but it's on the other side, is the Viking Bags swing arm bags. It's listed on their website for $129.55. But if you wait for a discount code, which I know there is one, or there's at least a discount on it right now, sometimes you could get them for under $100. When I was looking into the prices, it was listed at $99.99. So you might find a deal on there, or you might find something that's a little bit more your style. And the last thing, it's not necessarily a must do or must have, but I definitely recommend it if you use your phone for like navigation. I would recommend getting a QuadLock Moto mount kit. So it's not super cheap. So the QuadLock phone case and Poncho kit, that one is listed for $54.90. I think you can get just the case without the poncho, and it's like in the $40 or $30 range. The QuadLock Moto mount kit itself, that was $79.90, but I paid $71.90 using a discount. And then I did not want to use their stock blue lever that comes with it, so I got a red one for $8.95. I think retail it's listed for $9.95. And then lastly was their vibration dampener. It helps preserve the internals for your phone, especially if you have an iPhone. There's been a lot of reports that depending on the levels of vibration, you might end up ruining the camera. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times that it's a little bit more convenient just to put the phone in my pocket and go. So that I don't always use it, but when I do want to use it, it's definitely a nice thing to have. The vibration dampener itself is listed for $19.95. Yeah, so a lot of these things are optional. That's a price breakdown of all of the things that I have on my bike. It's all the things that I've done over the last 3 years, but a lot of these you can do within a day or two and then just get right back on the road. So I've talked a lot. I think that was probably like 20-30 minutes long. I'm not even sure. I have a full total, like I mentioned. So all in all, the retail prices, again, the retail prices of everything combined is maybe not assuming taxes and shipping, but the retail prices that are listed on their website was $3,393.64. That's quite a bit of money. It's not a cheap hobby, but yeah, definitely an eye-popping number when I saw it. The price that I paid, the price that I ended up tallying was $2,410.97. But yeah, I guess under 2,500 bucks, and I feel like I hit the nail on the head there. So yeah, let me know what you think. It's definitely something that I enjoy doing. If you like this video, if you enjoy this type of content, if you like everyday Jose's just tinkering around in their garage, messing kind of with low skill mechanical stuff, consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate any sort of engagement, feedback, comments. I'll catch you on the next one whenever I film it. I don't know when it'll be, but I'm done talking. My mouth is dry. I need another sip of beer.